So before I go on, you might see this dark line on the stones here. That's where the loch should actually be. Although it's raining at the moment, we're actually going through a 4-year drought here in Scotland at the moment. Scottish people do not believe me when I say we're going through a 4-year drought, but we've lost about 2 feet of water here throughout the loch. The reason that's scary is because of how much water this loch contains. So this loch has more fresh water in it than the whole of England and Wales combined. So all of England and Wales's lakes, rivers and reservoirs would not fill this loch. So if you lose 2 feet of water, it's kind of scary. But anyway, I'll show you what lives here down in the water. All these little dots here on the screen here, these are fish. So I'll show you what they could be. Work the technology. Yeah, so we have large pike here in the loch. These are famous for taking a few fingers off unwary fishermen. They've also eaten nearly all the ducks here on the loch. The reason there are no ducks here or swans, these guys come up, drag them down into the water. So not the nicest of fish. We also have salmon here as well. The largest salmon was caught back in the village in the 1950s. And we have trout as well. We've got brown trout, rainbow trout. These are not the sexiest fish you've ever heard of, probably because you get them everywhere, but you don't get these guys everywhere. These guys are ferox trout. Ferox means ferocious in Latin, so I am told. These guys are cannibals. Okay, so they eat other ferox trout here in the loch. They're almost completely blind. So being down in the darkness here isn't really a problem for them. They hunt down there in the dark. When they come across one of their relatives, they will eat them. If they cannot eat them, they will breed with them and have loads of messed up kids. What's really messed up though is they wait till their children get to a certain size, then they turn around and they eat the ones they don't like. Okay, so your parents were not that bad is the upshot of this story. Okay, obviously they can't eat all their own kids or they go extinct. So they come up to where there's a little bit more light and they hunt our most numerous fish, which is this one, the Arctic char. Okay, now as the name suggests, the Arctic char should live in the Arctic. They've actually been trapped here since the last ice age. During the last ice age, Scotland was weighed down by glaciers, and Britain's. Imagine Britain like a set of scales, say Scotland's on one end, England's on the other. All this ice formed over Scotland, causing Scotland to sink into the sea a little bit, and England rose out of the sea. When this happened, this loch opened up to the sea, salt water came in here, the Arctic char came with it, lived here quite happily. When the ice age ended, the weight came off Scotland because all the ice melted, and slowly Scotland began to rise out of the sea and England started to sink back down into the sea, and eventually we were cut off here and the Arctic char were trapped here. But it happened over such a long time that they adapted to the conditions. But this actually happens every year. Every year to this day, Scotland gets a little bit bigger every year and England gets a little bit smaller, which of course makes all Scottish people very happy that one day England will be the bottom of the ocean. Not that we're bitter about anything here. No, totally over it. Anyway, none of these are big enough to be the Loch Ness monster. Hold on. So I'll show you what the locals thought Nessie looked like. There you go. Just what the tourism board don't want me to show you. Nessie eating a baby. The reason Nessie's eating a baby there is not because Nessie kills people. This is a warning to parents not to let your children swim in the water. The reason for that, as I mentioned earlier, the water here is 4 degrees once you get past the sunshine layer. So if you were to jump overboard on a warm sunny day into the water, there's a good chance you will go into cold water shock. And how do you explain cold water shock to children? It is much easier just to tell them there's a bloomin' monster swimming around in the water. Okay, so this is where we think the story originated from. But many people have seen things over the years. Some people think they've seen one of these here in the loch. This is a large catfish. This one is from Lake Baikal in Russia. The Russians get large catfish out there, 6 to 8 feet in length. Been known to eat people as well. Some Russians claim that there are 40, 60 feet catfish out there, but currently we're not really trusting Russian statistics, so we're not pretty sure that's not what this is. The other one is a very popular theory, is that Nessie is a sturgeon. That's a sturgeon, again large freshwater fish, 6 to 8 meters in length. Okay, an 8-meter fish is pretty much about the size of this Isle of Chairs here. If you saw one of those, you'd be scared. Now, these guys live for a very long time as well, so this ticked a lot of boxes for the Nessie theory. However, MIT came here, the University of Otago, DNA studies were conducted here in the loch, and no catfish or sturgeon DNA has ever been found here. So those theories were thrown out. Many Nessie enthusiasts, though, claim it has to be a sturgeon. For them, it's the only thing that makes sense. However, I always counter with the argument that sturgeon make caviar. Okay, and if we had a fish in this loch that made caviar, I would not be doing boat trips in the rain on a Friday. Okay, I'd be on holiday somewhere with my wee £1 million caviar farm out there making me millions. Okay, I guarantee you there are no sturgeon here in the loch. What I think everyone sees are large European eels. Okay, this is the largest European eel caught in this system here. It's 3.3 meters long, had to be lifted up with a crane. Nearly every loch in Scotland has European eels. They grow to about the size of my leg. Then they swim down the rivers to the sea, in this case down the River Ness to the North Sea. They hunt to the North Sea, they spawn out there, they grow nice and big and fat. They take all their babies and come back up into the loch, and they basically rinse and repeat this throughout their lives. Okay, what these guys do though is something interesting. When they swim up our river into the loch, they follow the path of least resistance, which means they slither along the top of the water. If you've ever tried to swim up a river, you know what I mean. If you dive under the water, you tend to get pushed back. Best chances to go on top. That's what these guys do. And when they slither along the top, they create humps in the water as they do so. Okay, and I think these are the humps of the monster that everyone is seeing. 98% of Nessie sightings are by tourists drinking whiskey. 2% are by locals who are also drinking whiskey. Common thing here with Nessie discoveries in the loch. Now, I think that's what everyone's seeing, but it's up to yourselves. Many people want Nessie to be a big, green, fluffy dinosaur, and who am I to disagree? If we ever found Nessie, I'd probably have to go back to working in the North Sea, and that's quite difficult, so if we could just keep it a mystery, that would be great. But if you're desperate for a photo of the Loch Ness Monster, you simply have to go away with something. See these stickers we have on our windows? Dotted around the place. If you get your phone out, take a photo of one of those stickers with the water in the background, you have a ready-made Nessie photo ready to go. Okay? Just make sure you get the water in the background. If you get the land with the sky in the background, you're going to look like a numpty, because no one's going to believe you when you show them a picture of Nessie flying. Okay, well, I hope that wasn't too arduous. Enjoy the rest of your trip. Thank you very much. Thank you.